Good afternoon, everyone. We would like to welcome our graduates, families and friends here on what is a very special day for you, your Macquarie University graduation ceremony. Firstly, I would like to ask you all to please ensure that your mobile phone has been switched off. There are a couple of items I need to run through before the ceremony starts. Firstly, you're all welcome to take photographs during the ceremony. However, we do ask that you remain in your seats so that you do not impede the view of the other guests. Under no circumstances should anyone stand in the centre aisle or approach the stage. Please note that this ceremony will be streamed live on the Macquarie University YouTube channel. Should we have a situation that requires us to evacuate the building, please follow the instructions of our security staff. There are 4 exits from the graduation hall, 1 in each corner of the building, 2 in the back corners and 2 in the front. You will also find our safety information on the back page of your program. Plaques, frames and photography services are available in the atrium building next to the refreshments marquee. If you have pre-ordered a frame or plaque, please make sure you collect it there today. In a moment, the Chancellor of Macquarie University, the Honourable Michael Egan AO, accompanied by the academic procession, will enter the graduation hall. When the procession has arrived on the stage, Advance Australia Fair will be performed and you're invited to join in the singing of our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the academic procession.
Please be seated. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Mr. Chris Tobin, representative of the Darug people, to offer the traditional welcome to country. Mr. Tobin.
Thank you. Warame Budri Miriga Nalawa. Good afternoon and welcome to the lands of the Wallamedigal. I belong to one of the local Aboriginal families of the Darug people, the traditional custodians over this part of the country. I wish to firstly pay my respects to the country and its people and to thank the university for its acknowledgement of us and the invitation to welcome you here today. That acknowledgement is important for our people and much appreciated. My family descends from Yarramundi, a respected elder and cleverman of the Burrabrongal clan during the early years of colonisation. He saw that our survival in this new world could best be secured if we could learn more about it. As such, he enrolled his daughter, Bulungari, or Maria, into the Native Institute, a school set up in 1815 by Governor Macquarie himself, offering formal education to Aboriginal children. Maria studied there for several years and with her newly acquired skills, was later able to lobby and ultimately secure some land for herself and her family out along the Richmond Road. Other Aboriginal families soon joined them, and it became known as the Blackstown, where the present-day city of Blacktown gets its name from. We are very proud of her, as I'm sure your families are of you here this afternoon. And with good reason. Your success is our success. Your advancement is our advancement. Now, that was probably better understood in traditional times when clan groups were smaller and abided by strict sharing laws, which meant that the food that you caught and brought back got distributed throughout the rest of the camp. Your skills and good fortune were thus enjoyed by all. Your efforts literally nourished the rest of the community, and you in turn were looked after by them. Yes, we can live quite beautifully when we do it well. Our Aboriginal ancestors certainly lived well in many respects, and I use occasions like this to offer them to yourselves as a model or a benchmark on how good to expect our lives today. You see, when Captain Cook arrived here a little over 200 years ago, he described the people he encountered at Botany Bay as one of the happiest people he had met in the world. They had nothing, he wrote, but the tools that they carried. They were naked, they made their shelters from the bark of trees without cutting them down, and harvested food from the earth without excessive tilling. There was no slavery, no rich and poor, and no homelessness. Armies were unknown, as were forts and jails. People cooperated to collect the resources that were needed, and then they were shared out according to strict Aboriginal law. Our lands were maintained by fire and respectful harvesting, and our rivers and waterways kept clean and unpolluted, with people drinking out of them as they have done here for the past 20,000 years. Now remember, this is not a dream or an ideal. This was normal life, and not so very long ago. And I don't think there is a reason why we should expect less for ourselves and our children than what our ancestors enjoyed. So people, I would say, expect great and wonderful things from your lives. Life is good and we are meant to be happy. So I would suggest that you keep following the promptings of that beautiful spirit that got you this far. Keep following it. We'll see what sort of world we end up with. I suspect a beautiful one. There's still a lot of magic in it. We can all do our bit. I'll do mine now by winding up and letting you graduate. Thank you for your kind attention. Congratulations to all of you and all the best in our collective futures. Welcome to country. Yana.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the Chancellor of Macquarie University, the Honourable Michael Egan AO. Chancellor.
Well, first of all, thank you, Chris Tobin, for your welcome to country. Now, there's a gentleman standing down there with a little baby, He was sitting down here, but he's now down the back. As soon as the baby made a noise, he went to flee. Please come back. We don't mind if the baby cries. Babies are always welcome at our graduations, especially if they cry, because we know from experience that if a baby wails throughout a graduation, they come back within 25 years to get their first PhD. And in any event, I've never ever seen a celebration, and a graduation is a celebration, that is not enhanced by the presence and the noise of children. So they're most welcome. I don't know whether you saw on TV last night the swearing in of the new Prime Minister with his young grandson, Jack, I think his name was. And Jack was making quite a commotion in the background, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Someone on the radio this morning was suggesting that Jack was actually practising the oath of office for 50 years' time. Now, I don't think that was the case at all. I think he was just being a baby. And so please, you don't have to go outside. Well, graduands and ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls, it's my great privilege as Chancellor of Australia's best university, Macquarie University, to preside at this very important ceremony. First, I welcome all of our graduands, and there's a lot of them this afternoon, and I hope this will be a very happy and memorable occasion for all of you. Now, it will only be a happy occasion if you all settle back and relax. Some of you look rather nervous. I just want to remind you, you haven't come to the exam room, you've come to pick up your degrees, you've already passed your exams. Nothing can go wrong this afternoon. Well, you can fall over or your hat can fall off, but we've always got that under control. That's why all these people are here, to pick you up if you do fall over, and we send you on your way. So I just want you to relax and make sure that today is a very happy day, because you deserve to enjoy the day. You deserve to take great pride in your graduation, because completing a degree is never easy. You need an intelligent and inquiring mind. You need determination and perseverance, and you need to make many sacrifices. So welcome and congratulations to each and every one of you. Today I also want to welcome, and especially welcome, those of you sitting over there or behind our graduands as their invited guests. Because if you think about it for a moment, you've all obviously done well. The very fact that you're here, the fact that you've been invited by one of our graduands to share one of the great days of their lives is proof positive that you've been very important in their lives and in the successes that we celebrate today. And I don't want you to think either that observing today's graduation is the end of your role. I have another very important service for you to perform for our newest graduates, as they will soon become. I want you to make sure that the degrees they receive today are never ever put in a bottom drawer, but are always proudly displayed in a position of prominence. In other words, if our graduands are too self-effacing to proclaim their own success, you make sure that you do it for them. Now, the ceremony that we're about to participate in is one of the world's oldest social rituals. For centuries, graduates have been donning robes just like the ones our graduands are wearing this afternoon, and participating in ceremonies just like this one. Indeed, there are some 50 universities in the world which can trace their history back more than 500 years. Now, it will be another 450 years before we can boast that. We're a very young university, only last year celebrating our 50th Jubilee. We proudly take our name from Australia's greatest colonial governor, Governor Lachlan Macquarie, a man whose greatness and achievements were never acknowledged by his contemporaries, but only by history. Now, those of us who went to school in New South Wales learned that Macquarie was a great builder, but his greatest legacy had nothing to do with bricks and mortar. It was the ethos he established, much to the chagrin of the British authorities, of an egalitarian society, because it was Macquarie's insistence that in this fledgling convict colony there be no distinction, none whatsoever, between the free and the freed that was the foundation of the Australian notion of a fair go for all. And that is the legacy that here at Macquarie we will always aim to maintain and honour. After our first 50 years, we now have more than 160,000 Macquarie graduates living in more than 140 countries. Macquarie is a very modern and outward-looking university. We are truly one of Australia's leading research universities and are currently extending our research as we are our course offerings and facilities. And in saying that we're a leading research university, that is not an empty boast. I mean, I'm sure that today almost everyone in this room has in some way or another used Wi-Fi. Now, Wi-Fi wasn't developed at Harvard University. It wasn't developed at Oxford University. It wasn't developed at the Australian National University or at Sydney University or at Melbourne University. It was developed by CSIRO scientists and Macquarie University scientists. So that, I think, is a great achievement for a very young university. You might also, on your way here today, have seen our Macquarie University Hospital, which is only a few years old. We're the only university in the country that owns and operates its own private hospital. And as well as being used for its primary purpose of treating sick people, it's also used by the postgraduate medical students and our academics in our Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences. And by the way, it is a great hospital, and I can attest to that personally. I was a patient there about 2 years ago for 3 nights, and I can assure you that the standard of attention and care is absolutely first class, especially when you're the Chancellor. So I commend it to you. We also have our fairly new Advanced Hearing Hub, which was opened a couple of years ago and which will be a world-leading institute in hearing and language sciences. So we're looking forward and we're on the move. Here at Macquarie, we have a very clear and straightforward mission, and that mission is to transform people's lives and to improve the lives not just of our own students, but also of people all around the globe by the work and achievements of our graduates and by the fruit of our research. We want Macquarie always to be a leader in teaching and learning and a leader in the accumulation of knowledge and understanding. In other words, an ideal community of scholars. And graduands, in just a few minutes, it will be my very great honour to confer your degrees upon you and welcome you as lifelong members of that community of scholars we proudly call Macquarie University. Well, graduands and ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to introduce our occasional speaker. Linda Javen is a writer, one of Australia's most versatile writers. Her work spans humour, eroticism, social issues. The Infernal Optimist is set in an immigration detention centre, China studies, literary translation and cultural commentary. She's appeared on ABC's Q&A and was a regular panellist on the now sadly defunct Critical Mass. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to call upon Linda Javen to deliver the occasional address.
Thank you, Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, members of the faculty, staff, distinguished guests, graduates, and families. Good afternoon. It's a great honour to be here. I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Darug people, and to pay my respect to their elders past and present. And that was a beautiful welcome to country. Thank you so much for that. Now, when I sat where you are sitting today, the world was a very different place. It was 1977, and I was graduating from Brown University in the United States. Civil rights movements, feminism, which we called Women's Lib, and the struggle for gay rights were among the movements that were only just beginning to reshape society. Personal computing was in its infancy. The first Apple computers went on sale that year. South Africa was still under apartheid, and Iran had yet to experience its Islamic revolution. It was the time of the Cold War, the Soviet Union, and the Berlin Wall. The world was divided into two antagonistic camps, communism versus the so-called free world, each threatening the other with nuclear annihilation. At university, we danced to the Bee Gees, we worshipped the Talking Heads, and were astonished when punk arrived to change rock and roll forever. Now, on that day, when I sat where you sit now, I looked around at my fellow graduates, and it seemed to me that, I don't know how you all are feeling, but it seemed to me at the time that, unlike myself, many of them knew exactly what they were doing and where they were going, whether it was on to further study or employment, and even where they would be 10, 20, 30 years later. At the time, careers did tend to follow relatively linear paths, and jobs could conceivably be forever. Now, I had had a wonderful 4 years at university. I'd taken courses in everything that interested me. That was all I did. I took courses in the French New Wave cinema, in introductory physics, in Latin, in philosophy. Having taken an Introduction to East Asian History course on a whim in my first year, I became so fascinated with Chinese history and eventually with Chinese language as well, that I ended up majoring in it. But that seems like a really practical thing to do now, but given the fact that at the time, the United States had no formal relations with China, and I was not yet an Australian citizen, a bit ahead of the game here, it was a wildly impractical course of study. It was so esoteric, and it was especially so for me, as I was too impatient to see the world to consider staying in academia, and I was far too indiscreet, I still am, to try for a job in diplomacy, which were pretty much the only two options open to someone who graduated in Chinese studies at the time. And I can't even remember how many people there were who graduated with me, but there must have been not more than a dozen. It really wasn't a popular course of study. Now, my dream, because I was a huge reader from the time I was a child, and I'd always thought I would be a librarian, but then somebody pointed out I could actually write the books as well. Oh, I thought, wow, that's great. So my dream was to be a writer, but I hadn't a clue as to how you went about becoming one. So, that was my dream. And finally, as I did not come from money, I knew that whatever I did, wherever I went, I was going to have to work out some way to support myself. So I sat there where you are sitting now, only barely hearing the words of the person who addressed us as I am addressing you today, and wondering whether I was completely mad. I'd always declared, sitting around with other students, my romantic preference for an unconventional life. And suddenly I was faced with the reality of crafting one, and it was frankly a little terrifying. After graduation, I worked for a few months in the university library, just long enough to save up for a plane ticket. I'd never been overseas before. I flew out into the unknown, first to Japan and then to Taiwan, where I continued my study of Chinese and found enough jobs, odd jobs like doing voiceovers for a Jesuit company that produced English teaching language materials for the Taiwan post office, things like that. I managed to somehow keep myself housed and fed. And finally, I went to Hong Kong, where I landed with about a little over $100 in my pocket, and only the vaguest idea of how one became a China correspondent, which is what I decided I would be when I grew up. It was 1979. China was finally opening up to the world, and Hong Kong was definitely the gateway. It really seemed like the place where I should be. But things didn't go quite to plan. I went to an interview at a magazine where an editor blew smoke at me. You could still smoke in workplaces. And he asked, "Can you write me under the table?" I didn't even know what that meant. So within a week, needless to say, I didn't get the job. Within a week, completely out of money, I was cooking meals and scrubbing toilets for a New Zealand family as their live-in maid. That didn't go too well. I still haven't learned, I had a bit of an attitude, plus I still haven't learned to hang up my clothes. Why I thought I ever could do anyone else's housework was beyond me. Eventually, I landed a job as a sub-editor at the Oxford University Press in Hong Kong. Now, that sounds really grand, but what I was basically doing was checking that no commas had fallen out of English language textbooks for Malaysia and Indonesia. In my free time, I worked on highly ambitious but seriously underbaked novels and poetry that I inflicted on audiences at fringe festivals and sent off to magazines ranging from The New Yorker, very ambitious, to Hong Kong's own Asia Week. The New Yorker wasn't the least bit interested. Asia Week, by some miracle, was. It must have been a slow poetry week. This somehow led to lunch with the magazine's literary editor. Impressed with my background in Chinese history and language, still a rare qualification in those days, he asked, "Do you write book reviews?" I'd never done a book review in my life. "Oh, yes," I answered, sure that he could see straight through me. Of course I do. He asked, "How long does it normally take you to do a book review?" And I thought, I was completely unaware that most reviewers take 3 weeks or a month, you know. Wanting to seem very professional, very efficient, I said, 1 week. He didn't bat an eye. He gave me 2 books and said, "See you in a fortnight." Over the course of a year, my little feet racing on that hamster wheel, I wrote something like 46 reviews, and the magazine hired me full-time. I became a China correspondent, and eventually Asia Week's first Beijing bureau chief. It was a great job until I discovered that my Chinese friends were being pressured to spy on me. So I quit my dream job rather than to see my friends suffer. One thing led to another, and by the early 90s, I was living in Sydney, and I was an Australian citizen. I was a struggling freelancer, writing fiction in my spare time, still writing these terribly overblown novels or underblown or whatever they were. But then in 1995, my life took a fresh turn, unexpected, when a short story that I had written purely to amuse myself evolved into my first published novel, the comic erotic Eat Me. And yes, it's as naughty as it sounds. And much to my astonishment, and the astonishment of my publisher, who'd only figured on a print run of 2,000 copies, it stayed on the bestseller list here for about 7 months and became an international bestseller. Completely bizarre and mad. So fast forward a few years after that, I had a couple novels now under my belt, and I thought I would write for theatre. That led me into 3.5 years of visiting asylum seekers at Villawood Detention Centre, and what I now expect to be a lifetime of refugee advocacy. I'm currently working on my 8th novel, which will be my 12th book, but I'm also working on my first screenplay. I'm dabbling in painting, why not? And I'm studying Spanish because also, why not? You never know where things will lead. Like me back in 1977, you too are heading out into a world of ongoing social revolutions, technological excitements, global anxieties, and a wonderfully diverse cultural landscape. Today, in a world increasingly ordered by a kind of free market fundamentalism, however, job insecurity and career shifts have become normal, and you will face the kind of uncertainty that I voluntarily created for myself. This is not fair. In an ideal world, it would be a choice. On the other hand, here are some of the lessons that I learned, and I hope that they are useful for you too. One is life is a great adventure, and when it doesn't go your way, go its way for a while instead and see what happens. Know that there is no such thing as useless knowledge. The humanities are so important, and they are more important than ever in a world in which we witness so much inhumanity. Embrace risk. Take it as an interesting challenge, not only to your ability to be resourceful and creative, but also to try to make the world a better place, a little more secure, a little less uncertain perhaps for those who will follow you. Your true destination is the manner in which you travel. Be proud of your achievements here, be proud of your university, and the friendships you have made both with one another and the teachers who may continue to inspire you throughout your life. Congratulations. Go forth and flourish. Thank you.
Your true destination is the manner in which you travel. That is very, very good advice, because you don't know what the future holds, and you really don't know where what you're doing now is going to lead. So you really just have to embrace the future with enthusiasm. As Confucius once said, wherever you go, go with all your heart. And I'm sure you'll agree that that was an outstanding occasional address by Linda, a fascinating life and career. And by the way, thank you for ending up here in Australia. I'm glad you're now an Australian citizen. And as you were talking about all your travels, it reminded me that when I was graduating at Sydney University in 1969, neither I nor many of my fellow graduates ever had any expectation that we would ever travel out of Australia. It wasn't something you did. You couldn't afford it. And it was really only with the advent of jet aircraft that brought the price of travel down so that it was a reasonable cost that we anticipated the prospect of travelling for the first time. So that's just to illustrate how the world changes and changes dramatically and quickly, and we have no idea what it will be like in 10 years' time, let alone 5 or in 5 years, but I'm sure it will be dramatic, and I'm sure there'll be great opportunities for you to take advantage of. So, Linda, thank you once again for a really fabulous occasional address. Thank you for being such an important part of today's ceremony, and I think Linda deserves another great round of applause. Well, graduands, we now come to the key part of the ceremony, the reason we're here, and that's the conferring of degrees. And I have to concede that it's the only part of the ceremony that makes me a little bit nervous, because I have been assured by some of the best legal brains in the country that if I confer a degree upon you and you're not eligible for it, there's nothing I can do to take it back. So I have to make absolutely certain that you're all eligible. I have to make certain that every single one of you were never late for a class and never late in submitting an assignment. So I'm going to ask the Deputy Registrar, Mr. Jonathan Wiley, to give me that assurance. Jonathan.
Chancellor, I certify that the candidates being presented here today and those who are absent have satisfied the requirements of the Academic Senate for the degrees and diplomas they are to be awarded. Would all candidates for admission to degrees and diplomas please now stand?
Graduands, in the name of the Council of Macquarie University and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit each of you present and those who are absent to the degrees and diplomas for which you have qualified. Graduates, congratulations.
Please be seated. Chancellor, the graduates at this ceremony are from the Faculty of Arts. Students and staff in this faculty work together within and across disciplinary boundaries to ask questions about socially complex problems, to identify paths of research, to analyse and communicate ideas in creative formats, and to reflect upon the skills and knowledge they will need to understand the world, both past and present. Students are encouraged to use their skills and talents to connect with local and global communities. The faculty includes research and study areas in ancient history, anthropology, English, Indigenous studies, law, media, music, communication and cultural studies, modern history, politics and international relations, philosophy, sociology, geography and planning, and policing, intelligence and counterterrorism. Chancellor, I now call on Professor Martina Mullering, Executive Dean of the Faculty of Arts, to present the graduates and diplomates. Professor Mullering.
Chancellor, I present to you the graduates from the Faculty of Arts whom you have admitted to degrees. I present the graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts. Zöan. Caleb Jordan, artist. Yao Yu Bai. Zara Ismail Bari. Matthew John Barnes. Sarah Besford. Tenzin Nicholas Berenye. Angus Patrick Betzina. Mirjana Borota. Catherine Winifred Buttrell. Jessica Marie Charleston. Meng Ting Chen. Arlene Cheng. Wai Manchi. Hoi Ching Chung. Ethel Tara Claude Suklati. Margaret Catherine Curtis, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Barbara Jean Dean. Madeleine De Vito. Stephanie Edmonds. Serena Januariani. Karina Daisy Jane Ferrone. Carmen Marie Grady. Lorenza Irene Griffin. Alessandro Claudio Guerrera. Ezra Adipramana Gunawan. Jiwon Han. Ali Harris. Claudia Hayes. Yashin Ho. Hang on a minute. Xiao Lin Huang. Yushen Wang. Alex Hunt. Rochelle Shalani Kanangara. Rebecca Cutrip. Jonathan Peter King. Kiran Raj Khatri. Juliana Yalendra. Catherine Leverett. Vashti Naniokuome Lonsdale. Taishali Tipene Luka. Ron Jafers Christopher Manahan. Benjamin McCarthy. Prudence Kathleen McCutcheon. Caitlin McNulty. Yvette Louise Montano. Michael George Corso Mosley. Galit Moss. Alicia Elizabeth Murray. Zoe Isabella Nicholson. Elliot Norris. Caitlin Rose Pacella. Anna Pentelo. Stéphanie Désirée Marie-Philippe. Sofian Aji Prasetio. Felix James Pringle. Luis Ratko. Diane Risk. Catherine Marie Robson. Kimberly Jane Sanders. Geraldine Louise Summers. Nicolas Rekovic. Sanjeeva Raja Sri Srankanda Raja. Valerie Stephanie. Tamara Marie Stephen. Rukasin Stotted. Desiree Stipulkowski. Maxine Angela Sundit. Michael James Talarico. Jelena Vunic. Jenna Wassel. Jared Mitchell White. James Wilkinson. Xinglin Wu. Hai Tung Young. Stacey Yip. Sandra Zadi. Flavia Caterina Zenari. Su Tong Yao. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts Media. Luke Amasi. Rachel Rose Andrada. Stacey Marie Saranya.
Too much?
Alexa Kamone. Alexander Charles Bennett. Gregory Lawrence Brown. Alexandra Bush. Troy Thomas Burns. Catherine Camilleri. Michelle Angela Chefai. Sarah DiBiase. Elizabeth Louise Dobbs. Stephanie Evangeline Duncan. Harriet Elga Cox. Carlos Jean English Walters. Hannah Farrell. Raymond Gabriel Gajitas. Megan Beth Gaudry. And Thea Margaret Norma Hansen. Holly Hurst. Verneet Kaur. Sol Kim. Bridget Alexandra Langtree. Stephanie Claire Lewis. Bryce Linton. Kate Lockley. Thomas Jesse Lockley. Yasmin Mashallah. John Michael Matthews. Kieran Harry McKinn. Camilla Christina Mead. Ziggy Middendorf. Annabelle Nicol. Catherine Nuttall. Isabel Paulina Pamatmat. Daniel Christopher Payne. Cooper S. Ramsey. Philippa Rasmussen. James Rotanson. James Alexander Russell. Christopher Rylett. Erin Elizabeth Sullivan. Alexandra Talbot. Lauren Walker. Claudia Michelle Vernon. Madeline Frances Wilson. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of International Studies. Rex Gilmer Arnott. Fumika Ido Ross. Joshua Christopher Nicholas. Jessica Ruby Robinson. Kimberly Tukana. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Social Science. Heather Cattrall. Michelle Leanne Golding. Isabel Taylor. I present diplomates awarded the Diploma of Languages. Georgia Tess Armstrong. Grace Hawley. Elizabeth Joanne Nosurdo. Natasha Marie McMillan. Miriam Bruce Susnia. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Applied Anthropology. Sophie Goodman, who has been awarded the Vice Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Robin Christopher Julian. Christine Mihitarina Martin. Helen Sowie, who has been awarded the Vice Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Congratulations to you. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Arts. Tali Nagong. Karen Balmer, who has been awarded the Vice Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Susan Lee Baxter, who has been awarded the Vice Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Linda N. Calder, who has been awarded the Vice Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Sakriti Gautam. Joyce Chao Shun Wong. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Development Studies and Culture Change. Dua Tui Wong. Priscilla Madrid Valero. Catherine Louise Rosic. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Master of Future Journalism, Claudia Ferris. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Master of Indigenous Education, Grace Marie O'Brien, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of International Communication, Rogelio Felix Flores Gonzalez. Gaibi Gabriela Fresa. Jessica Heinrich. Nitaren Chumapret. Semeng Wang. I present the diplomate awarded the Graduate Diploma of Arts, Megan Jane Cotton. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Research, Tasmin Lara Dilworth for a thesis entitled Food Justice and Ethical Eating, Perils and Possibilities Within Australian Food Movements. Patrick John Pearson for a thesis entitled Joseph Conrad, Ridley Scott and the Changed Phase of the Dystopian Oppressor in Fiction and Film. I now present graduates admitted to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dr. Elizabeth Clare Alberts for a thesis entitled Experiencing Narrative Poetry in the Verse Novel for Children and Young Adults. Dr. Sandra Blumberg, who studied under a Coachtel joint PhD agreement with European University Viadrina in Frankfurt, Germany, for a thesis entitled There is Nothing That Can Replace a Personal Relationship, Practicing Intercultural Competence in German Multinational Corporations in Australia. Dr. Estelle Hélène Bory for a thesis entitled 37,2 Le Matin in Translation, Interpreting and Transforming the Voice of the Other in Literary Translation. Dr. Neil Matheson Cameron for a thesis entitled Music of the Anglican Cathedral and Selected Anglican Parish Churches of the Diocese of Sydney, 1869 to 1940. Dr. Wendy Robin Carlton for a thesis entitled Integrating the Self Over Time, Memory Agency and the Role of Narrative Distance. Dr. Ian Mackay-Clark for a thesis entitled Legitimacy from Antiquity, Qing Imperial Ceramic Vessels for State Ritual. Dr. Fabiola Figueroa Neri for a thesis entitled New Environmental Citizenship in Mexico, an exploration of Temacapulin's resistance to the Zapotillo Dam. Dr. David Fingland for a thesis entitled Manufacturing Certainty, the Purpose of Planning in New South Wales, ? Dr. Fang Jun Lee for a thesis entitled China's Music Industries, Evolution, Development and Convergence. Dr. Kathleen Emma Lynch, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for a thesis entitled What to Do with Cases of Gene-Environment Covariance. Dr. William David McGaw for a thesis entitled Editing, Modernizing and Concordancing the Complete Poems of Henry Howard, Earl of Surrey. Dr. Glenn Andrew Morrison, who was awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for a thesis entitled Songlines and Fault Lines, 6 Walks That Shaped a Nation. Dr. Lara Palombo, for a thesis entitled The Racial Camp and the Production of the Political Citizen, a genealogy of contestation from indigenous populations and diasporic women. Dr. Simon Regin Paxton for a thesis entitled Tackling the Kanji Hurdle, an investigation of Kanji order and its role in facilitating the Kanji learning process. Dr. Stephanie Rennick, who studied under a joint PhD agreement with the University of Glasgow for a thesis entitled Foreknowledge, Fate and Freedom. Dr. Kathy Sport, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for a thesis entitled Women's Music in Australia, Space, Place, Bodies, Performance. Dr. Nguyen Chuen Wan for a thesis entitled From Hermes to Holmes, Manifestations of the Trickster as Culture Hero in Early Detective Fiction. Dr. Stephen Wittler for a thesis entitled The Words That Make Pictures Move, an implicit theory of view empathy in the practice of expert screenwriters. Chancellor, that completes this afternoon's presentation of the graduates from the Faculty of Arts.
Chancellor, I now call on Dr. Elizabeth Clare Alberts, who has graduated today with the Doctor of Philosophy, to give the graduate response on behalf of the graduating group. Dr. Alberts.
Chancellor, members of the university, graduates, and guests, it is truly an honor to be standing here today giving this speech on behalf of my fellow graduates. Today, the 16th of September 2015, is a day of great celebration. After years of hard work, attending classes and meetings, studying late into the night, writing and rewriting our work, we will be able to stride out of this hall with diplomas in our hands, faces glowing with grins. Each of us has taken our own journey to be here, and we all have our own stories to tell. But I thought I'd share a little bit about mine. For me, starting a PhD in creative writing at Macquarie University was one of the most exciting, but also one of the most daunting experiences I have ever been through. In my first few months as a PhD candidate, I remember hunching over my desk, staring at piles of library books and printed journal articles, and having absolutely no idea how to begin. My candidature involved a lot of self-starting, perseverance, and I guess you could say trial and error. Luckily, I had the support of a remarkable supervisor, Dr. Marcel Freeman, who offered faultless advice throughout my candidature that helped me develop my research and creative work in the best ways possible. Dr. Freeman was also there to lift my spirits and to assist me in countless other ways, and I'm very grateful for her help. Looking back at my journey, I am amazed at how much I have grown as an academic researcher and as a creative writer. And I know my education here at Macquarie University is largely responsible for my achievements as an early career arts professional. At the same time, my journey involved plenty of difficulties. There were academic challenges and also many personal hardships that sometimes disrupted my PhD. But I learned, as you would have learned too, about the value of emotional resilience, academic dedication, and wholehearted commitment to the goals I set for myself. Standing here today, I feel a tremendous sense of achievement. I hope every graduate here feels exactly the same way, and that together with your family and your friends, you can celebrate your success. I also encourage you to spend time telling your loved ones the story of your own journey, and to thank anyone who helped you along the way or influenced you in some way. I wish I could tell my own mother, Nancy, how much she influenced me to become who I am today. She passed away in 2006, but the last time we spoke on the phone, I told her I'd be doing just this, getting my PhD, and I know she's watching me here today. But as much as today is about celebration, it is important for us to also remember to be as humble as we can as we move forward into the next stages of our lives. On this note, I'd like to share a story. It is said that Chikaro Kano, the founder of the Japanese martial art judo, when he was close to death, he asked his students to bury him in a white belt. For those unfamiliar with judo, the white belt is what the new student wears, the beginner's belt. Yet Kano was the world's highest-ranking judoist, so to be buried in the white belt was a very humbling gesture. Perhaps Kano was also imagining death as a new beginning, and he wanted to wear the white belt for a pragmatic reason at that moment of transformation. While I'm not a judoist myself, I have often thought of this story at times of great achievement. Instead of seeing each success as a conclusion or a final outcome, I imagine myself donning a metaphoric white belt and think about how I can begin the learning process all over again. Yes, celebrate your success today. After all, we deserve it. But I urge you to go into the world as new students, eager to accrue new skills, knowledge, and wisdom. I would like to thank the Macquarie University Graduation Committee for asking me to speak today, and I would like to offer my sincere congratulations to each and every graduate here. I wish you all the best today and in the continuation of your journeys. Thank you.
Well, Dr. Alberts, congratulations on your PhD and congratulations on a lovely address. I'm sure your mother would be very, very proud of you. Elizabeth comes from the United States, so thank you for coming to Australia and thank you for choosing Macquarie. And I hope that you have a very, very long involvement with Macquarie University. Well done, congratulations. Well, I mean, that wasn't too bad, was it? That glorious voice, ladies and gentlemen, belongs to Angela Brewer. And we, at least I, have the pleasure of hearing her sing quite often because we have about 40 graduation ceremonies a year. And one of the things I like most about being the Chancellor of Australia's best university is hearing Angela sing at nearly all of those graduations. And by the way, you're very lucky that Angela was singing today because although she does sing at nearly all the graduations, occasionally she can't make it. And when she can't, I do the singing. Would you like to hear Angela sing just a little bit more? Would you? Okay, it's very simple. All you have to do is enrol in another degree and she'll be singing at your next graduation, I can assure you. So let's give Angela another great... And let's also give a great round of applause to our fantastic musicians, Dr. James Forsyth on the organ over there. And Melanie McLaughlin on the trumpet. And also I'd like to thank especially our alumni volunteers. Some of them are sitting over there. I think there are a few, there's one over there and some down there, who come along very regularly to help out and make sure that your graduation runs smoothly. So they deserve your thanks as well. Well, graduates, this ceremony marks the end of one stage in your relationship with Macquarie University, but it is certainly not the end of your association with Macquarie. From today on, for the rest of your lives, you are part of the bigger Macquarie family, which is our alumni, and part of the network of more than 160,000 Macquarie alumni spanning the globe. We'll keep in touch with you through our alumni program, which is focused on lifelong learning, lifelong support, and lifelong connections. Our commitment to you is to help you keep in touch and engaged with Macquarie throughout your life. And please do make sure that you come back to Macquarie, either to undertake more study or attend alumni events, or perhaps even just to use our aquatic and fitness facilities, or even if you just want to come back and use the library or go down by the lake and have a picnic, you're most welcome here at Macquarie. Well, now, graduates, the award of a university degree carries many opportunities and privileges, but like all privileges, it also carries responsibilities. Believe it or not, you, each and every one of you, can change the world. And you don't have to be a Nobel Prize winner either to do it, although of course that would help. But almost everything you do, in your homes, in your workplaces, and in your communities matters and can make a huge difference. The consequences of every effort, every action, large or small, can reverberate throughout society, through the decades, indeed the centuries. Even something as simple as a kind word or gesture can often be the spark that ignites a great life or a great career or a great achievement. So as Chancellor of Macquarie University, I charge you to use what you have learned, not only for your own betterment, but also for the benefit of the community. I charge you to use the skills and knowledge you have acquired with rigour and integrity, and to commit yourselves to a program of lifelong learning and inquiry. I charge you to recognise the worth and dignity of all people, particularly those who have not had the opportunities that you've enjoyed. I charge you to set high goals and to continue the hard work that has brought you so far. I charge you, wherever you go, to go with all your heart. And in all you do, I charge you to uphold the good name of Macquarie University. Now, graduates, I hope also that you'll always remember the people who've helped you along the way, many of whom are here with you today. So I'm going to ask you to do a few things in order to acknowledge their contribution and thank them for it. First, graduates, would you now please stand? Now I'd like you to put your degrees on the seats behind you so that your hands are free. And now I want you to turn around to face your family and friends, and I invite you to give them a mighty round of applause. Well, graduates, you can turn around now. Don't sit down, because you'll be leaving soon, but I would suggest you pick up your degrees. We don't want anyone leaving them behind. We will be leaving very, very shortly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, shortly I will lead the official party out, and it will be my great honour to invite our newest graduates and all of you to join us down overlooking the lake for some light refreshments. And please remain seated until, well, no, I'm going to ask you to stand soon, and then I'd ask you to remain standing until the last of the graduates have processed out, and then I hope you will also join the academic procession down to the lake. Well, graduates, I wish you the very best for the future, and in the words of the old Irish blessing, may the road rise up to meet you, may the wind always be at your back, may the sun shine warm upon your face, and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Graduates, congratulations and good luck.